وكلا نقص عليك من أنباء الرسل ما نثبت به فؤادك وجاءك في هذه الحق وموعظة وذكرى للمؤمنين.
Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, we come to another session of Musa and Harun alayhim as-salatu wassalam. And last week we discussed the end of Pharaoh's life. And as his life is ending, the people of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, they took their belongings from Misr. When we say Misr, we mean the place where they were enslaved. In the heart of Egypt somewhere they were enslaved, and they took their belongings, and when they left they also took out of, according to some tafsir, they also took some of the gold that belonged to the people of the Pharaonic people. So from their women and so on, they took some of their gold from them, because out of all these years of slavery and so on, they found an opportunity to grab some of their some of the belongings. So they found them, they grabbed them, and they took them with them across the sea, and now they've come to safety. And there's something relating to this which I'll talk about later on, but I need to put that in right now. The other thing was what I said to you last week, that Pharaoh, his body has been preserved until the Day of Judgment for people to see. Some Mufassirin have said that it doesn't necessarily mean that his body is going to be always discovered for all people to see. And that's not the meaning of it. Some have said that that ayah in the Quran where it talks about his body being preserved, it refers to his body being brought back from the sea to the shore, where Musa alayhi salatu salam and his people could be absolutely certain that Pharaoh has died. Because there was this belief that the pharaohs don't die, and that they might be haunted after the visual death of Pharaoh, the drowning of Pharaoh, that the Pharaoh could come back and he could haunt them. There was this kind of feeling, and so this is ayah number 92 of surah number 10. So these other scholars have said that what it means is that when Allah said, "Nunajjika bi badanik," we will preserve your body, litakuna liman khalfaka ayah, so that you can be a sign for the people after you. What they say is that his body was brought to the shores. They saw Musa's people saw the dead body of Pharaoh, and they were absolutely certain he's dead, and that gave them some kind of satisfaction, and that was the sign for them. Liman khalfaka ayah, meaning that these are the people who will live after Pharaoh, and that was the satisfaction that he's dead, he's gone, he's not going to come back alive again, and now we can move on with our own lives. But I prefer the first one that I gave you, and the second tafsir that I just gave you now today. The reason why they're saying that is because for many years it wasn't actually known where Pharaoh's body was, and it's only in recent times when they found his body again, and they discovered it, that unearthed it, or found it somewhere, wherever it was, in the pyramids, wherever, I don't know where it might have ended up. I haven't done the research on that, but they're saying that for some time his body wasn't actually seen by every single generation. Now when Allah said, "We're going to preserve your body, and it's going to be a sign for the people after you," according to the first tafsir, nowhere did Allah say that every single generation is going to see it. And that doesn't have to necessarily be a condition for his body to be preserved for all people thereafter. Many people, even till today, have seen his body and are convinced that Allah Azza wa Jal has shown us a miracle. He showed us a miracle that he's left this one body alive, as in his skin and all that is not deteriorating. He's not really alive. That's not what I mean. Is that his body is actually something which we can take a lesson from. And that was the whole point. Now, that's one other section of the tafsir that I've added. There's also some dispute on the actual sea itself. Is it the Red Sea that he split, or some other one? So We don't need to go into that. All we know is that Musa alayhi salam had this miraculous escape with his people, and they crossed the entire sea, and at the same time Pharaoh, he drowned and he was finished. Now this I said all together in one great tafsir, because the thing was that, we're discussing Pharaoh mainly, and then we went on to discuss the signs of the Pharaoh, and then we discussed the destruction of Pharaoh. One of his greatest aids that he had, monetary power and financial power, came from Qarun. Now while Musa alayhi salam was still back there, Qarun was actually one of the people of Musa alayhi salam. He belonged to his own people. So Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Holy Quran, Surah number 28, ayah number 76, Inna Qaruna kana min qawmi Musa fabagha alayhim. Qarun was actually from the people of Musa alayhi salam, but Qarun decided to go against his own people. And the big reason why is Allah says, وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْكُنُوزِ, I gave him many treasures. Now these are treasure boxes that had many different golds and merchandise, and you can imagine rubies, diamonds, whatever it was inside those, Allah gave to Qarun. مَا إِنَّ مَفَاتِحَهُ لَتَنُوءُ بِالْعُصْبَةِ أُولُو الْقُوَّةِ. Now Qarun, like normally when you have, let's say if somebody had a deposit box. So if you have a deposit box, you have to have a key to that, so you lock that and you put the key somewhere safely. Imagine now you had several safes or several deposit boxes, so you'd have to open so many things to actually, to keep so many keys. It will actually be a lot. So you might have to have a whole key ring. Some people, they have a whole bunch of keys on the side, and a bunch of keys, they're walking down the corridor and ding, 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 okay? Now that's a lot of keys for the whole building, for doors, for this, for that, I don't know how many things. Now imagine it goes beyond that. Imagine if it's a hotel. If it's a hotel, there's no way some guy's going to keep that many things. I know these days they've got the cards and so on, but imagine they had actual keys. You'd have to have a whole cabinet of keys that you have for each and every room that you have. Now imagine it's something beyond that. It's a bank. If you have a bank, then you've got many deposits, and imagine it's like the Swiss bank or something. So many keys you're going to have. So many different types of keys. You'd have to have a whole load of sets of keys. Now that's to do with if somebody actually owned a bank. Now, nobody owns a bank per se. You get a key, you're a customer, you're a customer, you're a customer, you get different keys. Who in the world owns all the deposit boxes in a bank? No one. Well, Allah gave so much wealth to Qarun that he had so many keys to so many treasure boxes and so many deposit boxes that he had to hire 24/7, 10 men just to carry his keys wherever he went. Now there's two elements to this. One is he could have put the keys somewhere, but he wanted his keys safe, visual, he sees where they are. But the other side to it is that he wanted to show off. He wanted to show how much of a bad guy he is, okay? So when a man walks around and he's got 10, and these were not 10 ordinary men. These were like hefty guys who had a lot of strength, and they were laden with keys all over them. And when he walked, they walked with him. He said, hey, where's the sixth one? Take this key out there, that's it. I want to open this box of treasure. That's how many he had done. You could imagine how, la ilaha illallah, how many boxes, treasure boxes he had. And he used to walk with these men, he used to come out with these men. That was one kibr and one arrogance he had. Now, he's almost like a multi-billionaire of his time. This guy's got some serious money, and he funded a lot of what Pharaoh had. Some of what Pharaoh had, he funded that, and he was, a man next to Pharaoh in those terms. Now, Musa alayhi salatu salam, it is from his own people, but first his people, the Musa alayhi salam people, they talk to Pharaoh. They talk to Qarun, and they say to Qarun, "La tafrah." Qarun, don't show off. Don't be so haughty, and don't try and show how great and mighty you are. Inna Allah la yuhibbul farihin. Allah does not like people who boast. Don't try and boast in front of us and show, because the guy was a proper show off. Sometimes you get these billionaires who got these private jets and who got this, who got that. When they walk with a upper sort of stiff lip and like, who in the world is this guy, you know? And they have these arrogant views. You know, I hope you get who I'm trying to like give an indication to. There's one guy who might actually become a leader of a big country very soon. He's a billionaire. Did you get what I'm trying to... Just nod your head if you got what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Guy comes out with some views, man. You think, man, this guy's like, he's living on cloud 9. Did you guys get what I'm trying to say? Right now there's a guy who's trying to become a leader. Anyway, that's not going tonight, brothers. Allahu Akbar. Anyway. وَابْتَغِي فِيمَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ دَارَ الْآخِرَةِ. Allah Azza wa Jal then through Musa alayhi salatu salam and through his qawm, his people, they said to Qarun, they said, you know, with all this wealth, why don't you just seek the akhirah? You can join us, be believers in Musa alayhi salam. You can, you know, seek the akhirah. Do a lot of good for yourself. You get the dunya and you get the akhirah. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. But don't forget your share in the earth. We're not saying that you give all the money in the service of God. We're saying you will keep your own share, whatever it is you keep for yourself. But ultimately, وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. You should be you should be excellent towards people like Allah's been excellent towards you. Allah's favored you so much in giving you this. You should also from there favor people and favor, you know, the common causes that are out there. وَلَا تَبْغِ الْفَسَادَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And don't use this money to try and cause corruption on the earth. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. Allah does not like those who cause corruption. Now we're going to analyze this ayah. This is ayah number 77 of surah number 28. People who have wealth, they have a number of problems. Number one is their heart can get corrupted. Now some people, if you don't get wealth sometimes, and you've asked for wealth and Allah's not given to you, and you ask for it again and Allah's not given to you, and ask for it again, Allah's not given to you, you better just say Alhamdulillah and read 2 rakats, brother. Okay? Because our Prophet ﷺ, he said when he went to Mi'raj, he came back and he said, it's a Sahih hadith, he said, I stood at the doors of Jannah and I saw most of the people who are entering Jannah first are the poor people. Fuqara, poor people. And he said, Ahlul Jid Mahbusun. He said, I looked back on the day of judgment. This is Allah showing him a vision of what will happen in the future. He looked back and he saw on the day of judgment there are a whole group of rich men and women who had to give accountability to Allah for the money they had. And in a separate hadith he said, the distance or the time distance between the rich people entering Jannah after the poor people, and the time between the two is 500 years. Okay, so if you don't get it, you know, just say, Mash, this world I'm living 40 years, 50 years of poverty, but in the next world I'll go 500 years in Jannah before those guys. Okay? Right, okay. Now that's one problem. Second problem is when the heart gets corrupted, as in it gets stingy, because that's a real disease of the heart, to not want to give. When a heart doesn't give, what the heart is doing is the heart is making this person believe it's all his, it's all yours, it's all mine, it's all mine, I want more, You know, the disease comes in. The disease is to have more and more and more. You know, billionaires and millionaires or multimillionaires and multi-billionaires, their problem is they just want to get richer and the richest. It's a problem in the mind. Their thing is not, I don't have enough. They want to become either in the top 100 of the Forbes list, or they want to get to the top 50, or they want to get into the top 10, or they want to get to the top 5, 3, whatever it is, or become the richest man in the world. That becomes a disease in itself. So they carry on hoarding and keeping back. It's a disease. And the only way you release that is to actually reverse it. And you think, well, where did I get it from? Allah gave it, so therefore I need to give it back. As in I give, I spend, and Allah gives me. So this is all explained in the verses. Now, one other thing is, some of them think that, and there are some people who have money and they think if I give then I'm losing out. That's one thing. And there's others who think that if I give, I'm actually going to give, and at the same time I could become neglectful towards what I actually need. I might not hold back what I need. Now this ayah tells any rich person, you give, but you don't neglect your nasibak, meaning your own necessities of what you need in this world. Don't neglect that for yourself, for your family, for your business, for whatever it is. Yeah, keep all that, but you should always have access to give. Anyway, the final part that it says is, if you have wealth, you are in a good position to cause corruption. Poor people can't go very far with corruption. Poor people can corrupt, they can steal, they're going to be stealing an apple. They're going to be stealing some benefits here and there. They'll steal some few pounds and a couple of hundred here and a scam here of 1,000 and a scam here 1,500. Rich people are in a good position to corrupt big time. Right now, there are many governments, not all of them, but there are governments that are being totally influenced by the rich. I want you to understand this, that there are corporations in the world that are much greater than governments. There are corporations in the world that are bigger than America. They've got more money than the whole of America. And all the Bank of America, they've got more money than that. Imagine, there are corporations that have that kind of money. They can buy out countries. Now when you get to that level, you can easily, go to a party and say, I will donate this much, I'll give this backhand or whatever. What I want you to do is, I want you to sing my song. I want you to give me benefits of what I want to do. Okay? So, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but just as a quick thing, on the internet you can see this documentary called Merchants of Doubt. And Merchants of Doubt, it's about a 2-hour documentary. It will show you how you can get corrupted. Basically, just to tell you a couple of things is, in the 1960s, the producers of tobacco and cigarettes knew, and they had sufficient evidence that smoking causes cancer, or it has a very good link towards cancer. They knew this. They knew it was causing problems in the body, but they wanted to ignore that. So what did they do? They just denied it. They denied it for a decade. Then the advisors told them, look, it's looking bad on you. You're denying something that so many guys that are saying that it happens. So what did they do? They came out, they said, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, we're not sure. Maybe it doesn't. Okay, so they put doubt towards it. Then they did that for another 10 years. Then it was still looking bad. Guys, come on, you've got to come up with something better than that. So what did they do? They hired a bunch of scientists. This is real stuff. This is real stuff. I'm not making this up. Yeah, these are guys that have been through this, fought these guys, and they made a documentary out of it. They hired a bunch of scientists and they told them, listen, you guys need to prove through whatever means it takes, here's the money, that smoking doesn't cause cancer or any of these problems. So scientists came out, no it doesn't, no it doesn't, no it doesn't. A whole bunch of scientists just picked them up, bought them in. Money talks, right? For another 10 years they did that. Then it kept on coming down to them. Hey, listen, the PAs are saying, the PRs are saying to them that, it's not looking good. What did they do next? They say that it could be the case, we'll never know, but what are we going to do now? We need a new thing. You know what they did? They hired talkers. If I bring a scientist here right now to talk to you guys, he'll probably be talking to you like this. And the Quran has got specific rulings that do go beyond the human conscience, but they do have a significantly deep and very subtle message. If I start talking like that, you guys are going to be, So basically what they did is, they got a whole bunch of people that are talkers, who can talk. Give the guy, now on CNN or something, there's a scientist talking, boring. But that's how most scientists talk. And then they got this talker, the guy doesn't have a clue. And he's basically saying, yeah, you're talking about smoking. The guy can talk, he can engage you. And people just fell for it. Another 10 years went by, or another 5 years went by. What did they do after that? Then they hired specific guys to shut certain people up. This is a specific crime that is like in the underworld. So I'm just telling you what's on the documentary, yeah? So don't want to be, I'm saying, like, don't want to be like hooked up, yeah? So what I want to say is that if you look in, what did they do? they actually gave death threats to the people who were talking against them. They got emails with death threats. The kind of threats, you know what kind of threats they got? They got specific names of the children told to them in the email. You so-and-so, Miss so-and-so, who has 3 or 2 sons and a daughter, who goes to this school. I know who you are. I watch you. And I watch your children. And I hope to kill you one day. And I hope that you die on the side of the road while your kids are watching you. I mean, seriously, these are the kind of things. So you know, when you got money, you can do some serious damage. This is just one issue. The whole, the global climate, the rising climate, temperatures, all that, it's happening. Everyone knows it's happening. But they use the same thing over 50 years. First you deny it, then you say maybe not. Then you get a bunch of scientists. Then you start, putting the argument over with some other flowery stuff. Anyway, cut it short. What I'm trying to say to you is that when you got money, you can cause some serious corruption. Not saying every rich man is corrupt, but I'm saying you can do that. Okay, so this is Qarun now. He's causing corruption because he's funding the party, he's funding the government that is enslaving an entire nation, and he belongs to them. What a hypocrite. قال إنما أوتيته على علم عندي. This is ayah number 78. He said, Qarun says that you guys are saying that I got this from Allah. Who said I got it from Allah? He said, I am an intelligent, clever man. I'm a businessman. I made business myself, and according to the business skills that I have, this is how I've got the money. And Allah then interjects and He says, أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَهْلَكَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مِنَ الْقُرُونِ. Doesn't he realize that Allah has destroyed so many nations before him who were stronger than him in terms of power, and who had amassed greater wealth than him? وَلَا يُسْأَلُ عَنْ ذُنُوبِهِمُ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. And as for the sinners, their sins won't be asked about. Meaning that once I destroy them, who's asking about them? Anyway, Qarun used to come out now and again, and he used to show off. And one of the days when he never listened to Musa alayhi salam, he never listened to his people, he never listened to the da'wah. And what he did is one day he came out. He thought, you know what? Today I want to show all these people who the boss is, who the man is, who is the greatest don around here, who has all the wealth. So one day he said, you know what, today, forget my 10 men that carry all my keys. I'm going to take out all my stuff that I've got. So he got a whole group of men he hired a whole group of horses for them. In fact, for his own horse, he had to choose between, 200 horses or something. And he found his right horse, then he decorated the horse. Then he went to his clothing and he searched, he got advice of which clothing was the best. This is another problem of people who got too much money. They buy so many clothes, and they buy so many shoes, and they buy so many shirts and so many trousers. It takes 20 minutes to just choose what they're going to wear. I'm like, man, you come over here, I'm going to slap you. You think about it. You want to just go there, say, yeah, okay, spend 1 minute, spend 2 minutes, spending 20 minutes, half an hour. You know what they do? Especially some sisters. But brothers do too, okay? Brothers do too. I'm not saying that brothers don't do it. So basically, you take out the whole dress. You think, does it fit me? Will it look nice here in the mirror? Yeah. Okay, have I got the shoes for it? I got this, yeah, good. And then they iron it, then they wear it. Okay, it takes a good 10-15 minutes looking in there. All right, I got the handbag that matches this. I got the shoes that match this. I got this that matches. I got the scarf that match this. All good. And then they go to the next room and they say, can you come over here? How do you think this looks? And the sister says, I think you probably look better in the other dress. And she goes, I think you're right. Goes back in, takes everything off, chooses the other one, puts it on. Oh my God, ya Allah. Right? So sometimes you got too much choice here. It does you in. And sometimes men complain, I want to go, I want to leave. Allahu Akbar. Anyway, it's not about talking about all that, yeah? So anyway, Qarun's there, he's chosen out of how many dresses he had, he chose his best one, okay? And then he's coming out, he said, you know, you all position yourselves. I want this many horses on this side, this many on this side, I want this many behind me. And we're going to parade down the entire town. And we're going to show the whole town. And not only that, I'm not going to just parade with you. I want all your horses. I want every single horse to have one of my treasure boxes on it. Now this guy said he wants to show, you know, his 10 men that have got all these keys. It's not that he just made a set of keys and he's walking around with them just to show off. He seriously got keys to every single chest. So he bought every treasure box. The whole thing, he emptied it out and he put it onto so many, you know, horses. It was a whole trail, long line, a convoy of them. And he came out, and when he marched, the people stood on the right and the people stood on the left, and they were, he's walking in front. Who's the big man now? Who's the one who's got all this? And oh, the parade he got, the claps he got, the cheers he got. And as he's going, he came. فَخَرَجَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمِ فِي زِينَتِ. This is ayah number 79, surah number 28. When he came, there were certain people who were looking on. And they were the people who yearn the life of this world. يُرِيدُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. When they saw Qarun, they said, Ya layta lana mithla ma utiya Qarun. Oh man, if only I had what Qarun has been given. Innahu ladhu hazzin azim. Qarun has received such a great bounty, such a great amass of wealth. They were some people amongst the crowd. There were other people amongst the crowd who were given the knowledge. These are people who have got knowledge of, you know, the good knowledge of the deen and so on. They said to them, hey guys, what's wrong with you? You've seen this man, he's got all this wealth and so on, and you just want the same as his wealth. Wailakum, what's wrong with you? Thawabullahi khair. Allah's reward of what He gives is better. Liman amana wa amila salihah, for anyone who believes and who does good deeds. Wala yulaqaha illa sabirun, and only those who persevere in doing good deeds, and they carry on doing those, and they, you know, just say, you know, I've got to do this, only those people manage to get that status with Allah. Meaning that, you know, when we do good actions, the best good actions, brothers, according to this ayah, and it's also in a hadith, is that khayrul a'mal ilallahi adwamuha wa in qall. The best actions to Allah are those actions that are continuous, even though they may be little in amount. So what we do little every single day is better in the sight of Allah than one of us doing a lot of wealth, a lot of ibadah, a lot of dhikr, or whatever it is, and then dropping it another time later. Allah likes the constant one, because that actually is more in the future than the great amount we do on 1 or 2 nights, or, you know, a couple of weeks or a couple of months. So he said, sabirun, those who hold on to themselves, they're given this power to have more than what this Qarun and all that, you know, all these men are carrying. Now when he came out and he was in the middle, imagine some quarters, wherever it was, okay, and all the people are looking on to him, and his heart was full of the greatest boast, you know, because the thing is, you know, guys, let me be honest with you, yeah, a person who's got good looks, they get a kick out of other people looking at them for their good looks. A person who's got an intelligence, they get a kick out of people scoring them, giving them brownie points for how clever they are. A person who's got wealth, they get a kick out of people saying, oh man, you've been blessed, man, bruv, you got so much, you know, mashallah, whatever. They get a kick every time someone makes that, it kind of fills them in. Now, the best day is going to be when the whole city or the whole town is watching them. You can imagine Qarun sitting on his horse there with all of his men, all of his treasure boxes, everyone looking at him, and Qarun sitting there. He's getting the greatest kick out from this. Now, this is all arrogance and kibr and takabbur and haughtiness and showing the wrong attitude. What did Allah do? Allah says, فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ. At that particular moment, Allah Azza wa Jal, He made the earth crack open beneath him. According to some, he came out with his treasure boxes. And according to some, he left some treasure boxes back, and he only came out just to show his zina, his distraction. Whichever one it was, doesn't matter, because at the same moment when Allah opened and cracked the earth beneath him, and suddenly his horse was going knee-high into the ground, and all his other men, all the treasures, whatever he had, all his belongings, they were going in. It's the same time over where he left his great palace, because he had a mega building. That whole building, there was a crack underneath it, Allah opened. The people who were around him, nothing happened to them. And what happens? Allah says, فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ. Allah then slowly swallowed him, swallowed his horses, swallowed his men, swallowed all his keys, swallowed his treasure box, swallowed all his, his palace or his great abode, wherever he was living. Allah took all of that inside, and when he swallowed him into the earth then closed back up again. They just looked, and Allah says, فَمَا كَانَ لَهُ مِنْ فِئَةٍ يَنْصُرُونَهُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. He did not have any men, any army, any bodyguards, anyone who could come and rescue him from Allah. وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُنْتَصِرِينَ. Nor could he rescue himself. At that moment, the people who had just said, when they saw this great thing, they said that, if we could have wealth like Pharaoh, they said, وَيْكَأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَيَقْدِرُ. Oh, whoa. Allah expands wealth for whoever He wants, and Allah can restrain and take whatever He wants at any moment. They just saw it. All the greatest and the richest man in their whole life has suddenly been reduced to nothing but soil, and he's in there. No one's going to take him out of the soil. لَوْلَا أَمَّنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا لَخَسَفَ بِنَا. We were watching him. If Allah hadn't favored us, we would have been sucked in with him. وَإِكَأَنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Those who deny the message, they will not succeed. And then Allah follows it on to say, and this is the whole point of this and the lesson of this, تِلْكَ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةِ نَجْعَلُهَا لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُرِيدُونَ عُلُوًّا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فَسَادًا. Jannah and the Akhirah has been created and made specific for those people who are not arrogant on this earth, which Qarun was, and second, those who do not want corruption on this earth. Jannah is for them. So any people who've got the kibr, they've got a serious issue. Kibr as in arrogance. And any people who want to cause corruption on the earth, they've got a serious thing in front of them, unless Allah Azza wa Jalla obviously forgives them. So anyway, this was the end of Qarun in one go. After this, Fir'aun's gone, so the whole thing is left behind them, and the people of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, they are relieved, and they are now moving ahead, and they're going to eventually come to the place where Allah Azza wa Jal has kept for them, which is going to be in a place in Palestine. They're going to come there. Now the problem with these people was that these people, and why Allah is mentioning them, please remember this throughout this story, from this point onwards, and even what I've said before in Musa alayhi salam, is there is a reason why Allah mentions Musa alayhi salam in 137 places. Why? In one hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says to us as a community, as an ummah, لَتَتَّبِعُنَّ. You will surely, without a doubt, follow the same pattern and the life and the ways of the people of Musa alayhi salatu salam. Hadwan. He said, Na'lam bina'lin. He said, just as one shoe is identical to another shoe, my ummah, as in some people of my ummah, will become identical to what they went through. What does that mean? That means that the way some of the people of Musa alayhi salam eventually went and got destroyed, that's how we will get destroyed. Now don't forget, this hadith is not just about destruction, and this whole thing I'm giving you is not just about destruction, and we're not here to condemn certain people under Musa alayhi salam or certain people under Islam. What we're trying to say here is, the people of Musa alayhi salam, some of them were the best worshippers you could ever find. Some of them in Musa alayhi salam's time, they became so engrossed in worship. They went to a cave and they spent many years in a cave just worshipping Allah. Some, later on became, who worshipped Allah so much that they've been mentioned in various ahadith. But at the same time, there were others who went towards the line of corruption. They went towards a line of disobedience, and when they were told to do something, they did the opposite, or they made excuses. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ is trying to say to us, is that we'll get all sorts of people. If you study the Banu Israel, if you study the children of Israel, and they're mentioned, and then you look at this ummah, you will find this ummah to have gone down that pathway. So we are going to now talk about a number of events that took place. And before I go into the number of events that took place, I want to make a quick synopsis, quick thing of, in the beginning of Surah Baqarah, Allah Azza wa Jal, He dedicates almost 3/4 of a juz to Banu Israel. It's more than 3/4 of a juz. He dedicates to Banu Israel. Why? Because of this factor, that Allah is saying that don't become like them. You people of this ummah, some of you will, but I'm warning you, don't become like them. So the first one, in ayah number 40 of Surah Baqarah, Allah Azza wa Jal talks about the corruption of the ulama of Banu Israel. There were certain people who were the scholars of Banu Israel, and they basically got corrupted, and they started to change the actual Torah and its meaning. And this ummah will have certain people, though, certain ulama, certain scholars, who cannot change the Quran, but they can misinterpret the Quran. Already they have, many have done the same. So I'll give you an example. And guys, I'm saying this to you so that you don't get corrupted, yeah? I'll give you the view, yeah? You don't take this, yeah? Shaykh said it's halal, man. Sort it out, yeah? What certain scholars just recently in our time, do you know what they've said? They've said that all this alcohol is halal. Guys, you're watching this, hope they don't switch off and go and get a quick drink, yeah? They said halal, how? They said only one type of it is haram. Which one? They said in the Prophet's time, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, people used to take grapes and they used to put it into, these barrels, and they used to squash the grapes, and from the grapes they used to get fermented, liquid, and that became the alcohol. So the alcohol which the Prophet talks about, the wine which he talks about, is only the wine that comes from grapes. So if you have cider made from apples, if you have, Bacardi, if you have, don't worry guys, I haven't tasted any of these, yeah? I just see them in the shops, when these guys sell them. Yeah, and I think, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Yeah? If you have any other one that's out there, Castle Main Forex, whatever it is, yeah? If you have any one of them, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, they're saying that that's halal, na'udhu billahi min dhalik. Because they look at the definition and what's in the Prophet's time. There have been others who said, you know what? They've said riba, riba, usury, or its interest. They said the riba in our time that the bank is giving, halal. The interest the bank is giving, halal. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. How did they get to that one? They said, now these are scholars that are talking. Scholars that are giving this fatwa. And, you see how they can get misguided. They said, riba, usury, it's when you are imposing and you're saying that you're going to lend money out, and when you lend the money out, you say when you pay back, I want to have a 5% on top. I want to have a 10%, and the later you pay it, the more money you have to give. Now that's something imposed onto the person, and the person really wouldn't have liked that. That's what used to happen in the Prophet's time. But what's happening today is you're not lending money, you're just putting money in the bank. And the bank benefits from that. And when it benefits, it gets happy, and out of its happiness, it gives you some benefit in the name of interest. So this interest is actually benefit. Fa'ida. In Arabic they actually said it's not riba, they said it's called fa'ida, which is benefit. So this fa'ida from the bank, halal. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. Yeah. You want to start twisting things around, my friends, you can do all sorts of things. And some of the Banu Israel scholars, They did that, and some of our scholars doing this the same thing. Now, a quick thing on this. If you look at many of the things that have been said in the beginning of Surah Baqarah, you will find one by one, you will find that this ummah has gone down the lines. Now, what I will do is, at a later point when I finished the story of Musa, we'll make a quick analysis on some of the things that we've done, inshallah. But for now, what we're going to go to straight away is, after the destruction of Pharaoh, they crossed the sea, and according to ayah number 138 of surah number 7, Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, فَأَتَوْا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ يَعْكُفُونَ عَلَىٰ أَصْنَامٍ لَهُمْ. These people, were part of the corruption was, because they had lived under Pharaoh for so long, they got affected by Pharaoh's men and their ways. They saw Pharaoh's people worshipping actual idols. They got affected by that. They were in there for many years. So when they came across the sea and they traveled with Musa alayhi salam, they came across a nation of people who were standing in front of their gods and idols, just standing in absolute admiration and devout, being devout to their idols. The people of Musa, who just, saved themselves from Pharaoh, they said, Musa, you've been telling us that Allah is the one that has saved us. See, what we would like is, we would like to see Allah. So to see Allah, see, these people have got their God, they see it and they worship it. We want you to make us an idol that is in the shape of Allah, and we want to worship it. He said, Innakum qawmun tajhalun. You people, you're an ignorant people. This is ayah number 138, surah number 7. Inna ha'ulai mutabbarun ma hum fihi wa batilun ma kanu ya'malun. These people will be destroyed. And these people have got absolutely, they're doing something which is false. Just because you've seen that, you just want that? أَغَيْرَ اللَّهِ أَبْغِيكُمْ إِلَهًا. You want me to take other than Allah, and so that you can worship that, when Allah has given you preference over the rest of the world, over the rest of the people of the whole of the world. Subhanallah al-Azim, they kind of came to the senses for a little while, but it didn't last for very long. Musa alayhi salam had a deep problem. His problem was that these people were not going to give him an easy time. And even our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and he said to this, that Musa alayhi salam has really been hurt a lot by the comments and the way his own people treated him. So what happens next? As they're crossing this sort of, desert. They get, we don't know exactly which order some of these things happened, but this is all mentioned in the Quran. As they're crossing it, they come across to a place where it's open. So now they haven't got anything to shade them. All along they've been crossing lands where they've got shade, where they can drink some water here and there, where they hunt some animals or something. Suddenly they come to an openness. Where is this openness? This openness is somewhere near Mount Tur, somewhere along those plains near Mount Tur. When they got there, they complained to Musa alayhi salam and said, "Oh Musa," they said, "we're really thirsty, really thirsty, please, and the waters have run out. We need you to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us some water." So this is in a couple of places of the Holy Quran, Surah number 2, ayah number 60. وَإِذِ اسْتَسْقَى مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ. When Musa alayhi salam, for his people, he then raised his hands to Allah Azza wa Jal and said, "Oh Allah, please give my people some water." So Allah then inspired to Musa alayhi salam, either inspired or he spoke to him directly, and he said, "Oh Musa, take your stick again." This wonderful stick that he has. Allah said, "Take that stick, and you see this great rock next to you, this great rock." Allah said, "Strike it." So Musa alayhi salam, he went up the rock in the middle of a desert in the scorching heat. He strikes this great rock, and out of the great rock, springs of water gush out, 12 of them, in 12 different directions, cool, cold, soothing water, straight from the rock. And why 12? Because there were 12 different tribes. Don't forget, I already said that to you. Each tribe had a leader, and every tribe leader took one of the fountains, quenching his thirst and quenching his people's thirst as they queued up to that particular fountain and they were quenching the thirst. Subhanallah. Look at the favors Allah is giving to these people. They wanted water, Allah gave them water. They're cooling themselves down, they're drinking from here. Allah said, قَدْ عَلِمَ كُلُّ أُنَاسٍ مَشْرَبَهُم. Every single tribe knew exactly where to drink from. Allah said, Kulu washrabu. Now what happened is, they asked for water, they got the water. They then traveled and they got really, they became, very tired because of the heat and they were burning in the heat. So they said to Musa, Musa, please make dua to Allah. How are we going to cross these plains? So he made dua to Allah. What happened? Allah says this in ayah number 57 of surah number 2. This is also mentioned in other parts of the Quran, very similar to this. It says, وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامِ. All of a sudden, in the middle of the Egyptian desert somewhere, Allah creates clouds. And these clouds follow Banu Israel. And as they walk, the clouds sail across with them. When they stop, the clouds stop exactly above them. Allahu Akbar. What a great, and this is in the Quran. We believe this literally, that this actually happened. This is literal, that this actually happened. They got these favors. Some mufassirin, as in some people who made error in tafsir of this, they said that it was metaphorical how the water came out. But we believe no, it was actually a rock that was dry as dry in the middle of a desert, and from there Allah Azza wa Jal brought water out. And to substantiate that, Allah says in ayah number 74 of surah number 2, He said, وَإِنَّ مِنَ الْحِجَارَةِ لَمَا يَتَفَجَّرُ مِنْهُ الْأَنْهَارُ. There are many rocks on the earth and stones from which Allah makes rivers flow. Just straight out from the rocks. Like for example, if you think, subhanAllah, where does this stream come from? You follow the stream, you follow. You come to a place where the water is just coming out. It's just coming out from rocks. Is it coming behind the rocks? You look inside, where are you going to find it? For example, Zamzam. That's purely from rock. It's coming out from rock. Now, I know they closed the space now, you can't see it. But in year 2000, when I went there, we went downstairs and you just see massive rock underneath Kaaba. And it's just water just coming straight out from there. Straight out from there. It's not coming out of nowhere. Allah creates this. Allah says, وَإِنَّ مِنْهَا لَمَا يَشَّقَّقُ فَيَخْرُجُ مِنْهُ الْمَاءُ. There are those rocks on the earth that will just split and from their water comes out. This is a miracle of Allah Azza wa Jal on the earth. وَإِنَّ مِنْهَا لَمَا يَهْبِطُ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ. Sometimes they get scared on the mountains and a whole rock will just tumble over, fall over, and an avalanche is created out of the fear of Allah. So this is in ayah number 74 of surah number 2. So we believe that this was literal. Now, another favor. They said, Musa alayhi salam, we're hungry. We like food. Please ask Allah for food. Musa alayhi salam, he raised his hands to Allah again. Allah, give my people food. So food came down. How did food come down? How did this food come down? Allahu Akbar. They wake up in the morning, and you know the way that fog and mist comes down early in the morning, and then it goes up, and then you can see the dew on the leaves and all that. Allah made a special fog come down during the night time that is to leave a kind of succulent moisture onto the leaves of trees. This was as sweet as honey. This was something that they could, it dries up and it gets a bit hard where they can take it, scrape it off straight from the leaves. And it was almost like bread, but it was a sweet type of bread. This was manna. And then Allah made the bird quail birds come right up to them, and the quails became like pigeons in our time. Pigeons in our time that they come and they sort of roam around you. You could be sitting on a park bench and the pigeons are all around you. That's how the quail were. They were even more friendly than that. If you just move your hand like that, a pigeon will fly away. But these quail birds, they didn't fly away. They were ready. Now you went there, you just grabbed a quail, grabbed it, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. You took as many quails as you wanted. More quails would come. So basically they woke up in the morning, they had this bread which was manna on the leaves of these trees, right? They took it down. Wow, it's like a sweet bread kind of thing. And then you took the quail, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, you took the feathers off and you made some fire and barbecued it, right? And then you had the bread with the barbecued meat. Allahu Akbar, this is food. This is free. Absolutely free. They just asked Musa alayhi salam for the gift. They got it. La ilaha illallah. You know, how favorable was Allah to these people. Now they got a lot of favors. But you know, sometimes when people get quite a lot of favors, you know what happens to them? What happens to them? If someone gets this and they say, Musa, just make dua. Musa, make dua. And they get, ooh. What happens? You become ungrateful. Thank you. And you become greedy. Second thing. And this is exactly what these people did. Both of these things are going to come into play right now. Because what happens is, one is they start to have these manna wa salwa. And Musa alayhi salam said to them, he said, hey, don't store the food. You don't have to store it. Allah's going to give you so much food, there's no need to store it. But you know when you're tight, you don't take a no for a no. These people started to store the food. Musa said, look, don't store the food. Just use what you want. Allah will give you plenty more tomorrow. Don't worry about it. They carried on storing it. And when they carried on storing it, some of the stored food started to go off. And then because they persisted on what they wanted to do and they didn't listen to Musa alayhi salam, things turned around. You know, the lovely food, because you know when you have like quails and you have that sweet bread, you can make that in so many ways, right? You can barbecue it, you can make curries out of it. I don't know if they had any spices there, yeah, but you know, I'm just saying, yeah. You could like cook it in so many different ways. But what they did is they started to store it, and after a while they started to get sick of the food. It was their own doing. Allah says in the Holy Quran, Ayah 57, Surah 2, وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. We did not oppress them, but they oppressed themselves. By storing it going off, they're being tasteless, and then they say another thing to us, which is what? They said, they turned to Musa alayhi salam. This is now ayah number 61, verse number 2. They said, Ya Musa, lan nasbira ala ta'am wahid. Oh Musa, one food is not going to do for us. We want variety. What kind of variety do you want? They said, look, you know, we want things from there. We want onions, right? We want the vegetation of the ground. We want cucumbers. We want lentils. We want beans, things that come out of the ground. Now, Allah has mentioned this in, you know, as baqliha, qithaya, fumiha, adasiha, wasaliha. I haven't said it in the correct order, but you know, those kind of things. Musa alayhi salam said, you people want to exchange from what Allah is giving you free, and Allah is giving you so much in abundance. You want to go and you want to get food that is coming from the ground. He said, ihbitu misran fa inna lakum ma sa'altum. You know, you can just go and, you know, there's many towns here right next to you as we're traveling. Go to any one of these towns or cities and you go inside, then you can find all this stuff. So they went. Now look, it's going to be disobedience over disobedience. As they're going towards that, Musa alayhi salam said, listen, when you enter the town, you better say, Allah, forgive us. Hitta. Forgive us. And enter with your heads straight in. When you go into the main door, there's a main gateway. You know, these old cities, they have a main gateway of getting into the city because it's walled around. When you come to the main gateway, then enter, you know, with your heads in and say, oh Allah, forgive us. And you know, Allah will forgive you. Allah will forgive you and Allah will give you more. Don't worry, you know, you made a mistake. These guys like, what? Allah wants us to come in that way? Okay. You know what they did? They went to the town. As they came to the gate, they turned around and they came in with their backsides in first. Why? Instead of saying forgive us, which is hitta, they said hinta, sesame. What are these people doing? So they said that. And Allah Azza wa Jal, you know, they changed the wording. What Allah had told them, this is all in ayah 58 and 59 of Surah Baqarah. So Allah then, there and then, as they entered the city and they wanted to, you know, show Allah disobedience to Musa alayhi salam, Allah made a thunderbolt come from the sky. Straight there and then, and it killed a few of them. And then, oh, what are we doing? They came to the senses. Okay? They came to the senses. Allah just killed a few people. This is mentioned in a couple of places of the Quran. This is one of them I'm giving you. Now, okay, they're back now thinking, okay, we better listen. We better listen. But you know what? It's not in their nature to listen. What then happens is, they said, oh Musa, you told us that you're going to give us a way of life. You're going to give us a sharia or something that, Allah will ordain, a book, a revealed book, some guidance, some law from something that Allah is telling us to do. So he said, okay, I'm going to ask Allah. So he asked Allah. Allah Azza wa Jal then said to him, okay Musa, stay by the Mount Tur and fast for 30 days. Fast yourself for 30 days. And when you have stayed in seclusion and when you have fasted for 30 days, then you will get your book that I've told you to get. I'm going to give you a scripture from the skies, an actual written tablet. Whatever I give you, I'm going to give you something to bring back to your people. So Musa alayhi salam now is about to leave his people, and he tells Harun alayhi salam, he says, oh Harun, this is ayah number 142, surah number 7. He says, yeah Harun, I'm going to leave you in charge of my people for 30 days. And I'll be back in 30 days. So I want you to look after them. وَأَصْلِحْ, show between them how you can reconcile any matter. Don't let them fight among, because these people, they just want to disobey. وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ سَبِيلَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ, those who are corrupted, don't follow them. Don't listen to them. Just you stay in charge 30 days. And he told his people, I'm going to my Lord for 30 days. And when I come back, I'm going to come back to you with a scripture, or whatever it is Allah is going to give me for you people. Okay? So Musa alayhi salam went for his meeting. First he went for his 30 days fasting, and he went away and he's basically fasting. Now in between that, what happens is, there's a guy called Samiri, who's amongst the Banu Israel. He's escaped Pharaoh, and he came, through the sea. He came over and he's been with them all this time. Yeah. He basically says, he's getting ready. Okay, he's getting ready for a show. He wants to become another big man. And what he does is, because he's got the gift of the gab, he starts to become a kind of a leader type of person. And Harun alayhi salam, he's a gentle person. And what happens is, Samiri starts to talk to people and he starts to corrupt their beliefs. He says, hey people, he says, you people should listen to me, man. Yeah, you people should listen to me. And what this guy does is, he starts to up himself and he demands the authority of Harun alayhi salam. And when Harun's telling him, look, what are you doing? Why are you telling these people this stuff? You know what he said? He said, Musa's gone to his Lord. This is Samiri speaking. He's gone to his Lord. But it's been a very long time, and it doesn't look like Musa's coming back. Not at least 30 days. Now what happened is, Musa alayhi salam was told how many days? 30 days. Allah says in ayah number 142, Allah says, وَأَتْمَمْنَاهَا بِعَشْرٍ. I told Musa 10 more days. You need an extension of 10 more days. So Musa alayhi salam's now been given, he's in the middle of nowhere, he's told 10 more days. Okay, he's going to stay here for another 10 days. It's going to be 40 days. فَتَمَّ مِيقَاتُ رَبِّهِ 40 لَيْلَةً. It's going to be 40 nights he will stay there. Now 31 days have gone, and Samiri stands up to his people. He says, hey, you guys, Musa's not coming. Something's happened, I'm telling you. You know why it's happened? Because you guys have done something really bad. What? What have we done? Because of your fault, Musa alayhi salam is not going to come back. So what have we done? See, all the jewelry that you guys, took from the people of Pharaoh, it's a curse. See? Pharaoh's dead, but their belongings are with you. So because you've stolen from those people, that curse has now fallen onto you. And because of the curse, Musa alayhi salam is not coming back. So they said, oh, what do you do? He said, hey, listen guys, here, I'm going to burn this, I'm going to light this fire here. So he lit a fire. He said, I want all of you to take all the gold that you've got. and I want you to throw it inside the fire. So they came with all the gold they had taken from the people of Pharaoh. They threw it inside this fire. And he said, okay, now you go, the curse will be taken. Let me sort this out. So as they went to their places, Samiri was a very efficient and a good skillsman in making, things, molding things with pottery, whatever it was. He was a skillsman in craftsmanship. So what happened is he melted the gold and he shaped it in a calf's shape. Why a calf's shape? Because he knew he could fool these people in worshipping this calf. The people who were with him, Banu Israel, all of them had seen in the palace of Pharaoh and the Pharaonic people, they used to worship the idols. But one thing they did is that if a calf, because they liked cows, they had loads of cows. If a calf died, they gave the calf a special burial. They gave a state burial. The calf was given a burial where he was given a monument around it, and he was given a lot of dignity. What for? We don't know. Now these people were used to that, so he made a golden calf made out of the gold. And what he did is, he was clever. He made a hole going from the behind of the calf. This is just the statue calf, right? From the behind of the calf all the way to the mouth of the calf. A little hole here. So what happened is, when he made it, when the wind blew, it blew from behind inside the calf, and it came out of the mouth like, right? Whoa! So the guy basically called, but hey, you guys, come here. Musa was talking about the Lord he's going to, go to. He forgot, Musa forgot, this is his Lord. They looked at this golden calf shining in the sun, and when the wind blew, look, he's talking to you, worship it, go down. So they went down, Allahu Akbar. And he fooled them into believing this. This is all in the Quran. And I'm going to give you the reference next time, inshallah. I'm going to carry on from that, what happens. Jazakumullah khair wa akhir da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.
الذكر علم ونور الحاملات سنا ونور والرسمات هنا سرور يا حلوة تلك السنين.
The Safar curriculum covers all the Islamic educational needs of young Muslims today in a fun, simple and engaging way. Tried and tested for over 15 years at one of the UK's leading maktabs. The curriculum has been adopted by hundreds of institutions around the world and makes your child's journey in seeking knowledge easy, meaningful and dynamic. This innovative and comprehensive curriculum covers Quran and Tajweed, Islamic studies, du'as and surahs, as well as Arabic in an integrated and structured way. Visit safarpublications.org to find out more.